this is Wes McDermott, and this is the final video. This is number 4 in our fundamentals chapter. So here we're going to talk about publishing games and licensing. We're going to start by taking a look at how you can publish to different platforms in the Unity editor. What I have here is my build settings open. Here, if I come over to File and go to Build Settings, you can see that here are the platforms I can publish for. Now, in my case, what you're seeing here is I have Unity Pro and I have iOS Pro. So that means that I can do a web player build. So let's just imagine we've got this wonderful three-pillar game here that's so incredible, and we want to sell this thing. So what's really neat and what's so powerful about Unity is that I can build the game one time in one environment with one code structure, and I can then export that to or build that to numerous platforms. So I can do web player, I can do PC, Mac, and Linux, all from the same. So I'm actually on a Mac. I can actually author Linux and Windows builds from my Mac. I can then say, okay, now I'm done with those. Now I want to publish an iOS version of that. If I had the license, I could do Android. You also have some other stuff here like 360, PS3, and Wii. Those are like special licenses that you have to contact Unity for if you were actually developing for those platforms. But it is cool that Unity does work in that way. But yeah, these are just not something you're just going to buy out of the store. And then the Flash Player thing is something they were supporting, but that recently the news came to be that they're not going to be pursuing this anymore. So don't even worry about Flash Player. So anyways, that's what you kind of get. Again, you would just say like I just created this game. Right now it's publishing out PC, Mac, and you can see where I've got the little Unity logo by this. Let's say if I wanted to do iOS, all I do is click this guy, hit switch platform, and then it rebuilds up my project and gets it ready. And then when I'm ready to actually build this guy, just click the build button. So again, it's that one-click deployment and you're done. So here in this section, we're going to take a look at the licensing and what Unity actually costs and things. So Unity has a pretty unique price structure, and they've had some new updates to this recently. So what you have is you have basically Unity is free. You can use that in commercial sense. You can use that for any of your projects. But then there's also a pro version. So what we're looking at here is the Unity website. And you can see here that you have Unity Pro. So Unity Pro costs $1,500. And then you also have the option to do add-ons. So you have this team license add-on. But beyond that, you also have these publishing add-ons as well. So for instance, if you want to publish games for iOS or if you want to publish projects onto Android, you can do that and you can actually purchase these extra add-ons. But what has actually changed and what's actually really cool about Unity is you'll notice that these costs are for iOS Pro and Android Pro. However, if you are using the basic version of Unity, which is actually free, you can publish to web, you can publish to desktop, you can also publish to iOS and Android completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can download Unity right now and you can create a project. You can create it for the web, desktop, iOS, and Android, and it won't cost you anything. Beyond whatever you need to pay for iOS, being like the $99 Apple developer license fee, and I believe there's something similar with Android. But if you wanted to move into Unity Pro, you would then pay this cost. And then if you wanted to actually add, let's just say iOS Pro on top of that, you were then looking at the combined 15 and 15, so about $3,000 to have complete Unity Pro with the iOS Pro add-on to that. So let's go ahead and just look real quick. I'm going to hit this compare button here, and we'll just look at what some of the differences are. Like, why would you need Unity Pro? And so Unity Basic is actually I would say it's definitely full-featured. One of the really great things about it is that, well, here, we'll get to that in just a moment. But for now, if you go through and you can see, if you kind of check this out, you can see all the check marks. This is everything that Unity Pro supports. And then on this comparison page, everything that's not checked is obviously what Unity Basic does not support. So for instance, navigation, pathfinding, crowd sims, you're not getting that in the basic. So if you look at it, it's really any of these like real pro features. Video playback and streaming, you're not going to get that in the basic version. Let's see, what else do you got under Mechanim? You do get to use the new animation Mechanim system, but IK rigs and being able to sync layers and additional curves, you do not get that. Custom splash screens, you don't get that in the basic version. So your game is not watermarked, so as you're playing the game, you don't have this Unity watermark or anything like that going, but at the very beginning of your game, so for instance, when you publish to iOS, you'll see a splash screen. It just is powered by Unity. It actually looks really cool, and it kind of looks like what you'd see on a console game anyways, like powered by Unreal Engine or whatever. So in the case of you purchasing or just utilizing Unity Basic, it's really not a big deal. You also have things like real-time shadows. Now, this is actually not checked here in Unity Basic, but I do believe, and I thought that I had heard that real-time shadows is available on Unity free, so that's something to kind of look into. But things like some light mapping is supported with their Beast light mapping tool, but advanced global illumination area lights, that's not. So just basically run through this list, and you can kind of see some of the things that you're not going to get when you're utilizing Unity Pro. Now, something else that they have is if you do want to use Unity Pro, you can do so and you can actually go on a subscription base. So, say you have a project that you think is going to take, maybe it's going to take me, 3 months or something like that to work on. You can actually, in a sense here, it says you can now get Unity Pro for $75 a month for 12 months. So you can actually rent it per project. So it is going to have to be for an entire year. But say you're like, okay, well in 2014 I would be working on creating this game. I'm going to go ahead and budget and run Unity Pro at this price per month at this subscription base, or you can just buy it flat out. So in a very good sense, you're able to utilize Unity Pro for a specific project through that project's well, I will say within that 12-month period, without having to pay the entire cost of buying Unity by itself. So that's going to cover this first chapter of Unity Fundamentals. We talked about what Unity is. We also kind of gave a high-level overview of Unity project. We then moved into talking about the importance of game objects, prefabs, and components. We mentioned that game objects are containers. Everything in Unity is a game object. Prefabs are reusable instances of game objects, and components are the items and elements that we actually attach or place into our game objects. And then once we put our game objects together and have them interact with each other, that's how we actually build up our game. We also talked about packages, the Unity packages, and how those worked. And then finally, we talked about the publishing platforms and the licensing differences. In the next chapter, we're going to actually get into the Unity editor and we're going to walk ourselves through it and we're going to familiarize ourselves with how the application actually works.